Scott Stager.
Here.
Mark Bowling.
Here.
Maria Mills Bennett.
Here.
Bobo Fahmy. Lance Green.
Is here.
Thomas Jordan.
Here.
Now I'll take a motion to consider the minutes from April 25th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of April 25th.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, application, MDA amendment, First Amendment to the restated Master Development Agreement to the Catfish Commons Plan Commercial Development, case number PRZA-24-0004. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve case number PRZA-24-0004.
I'll second.
Good evening, Penelope Cruz Planning. So the proposed amendment is to allow a multi-tenant freestanding sign with 84 square feet on that southeast corner there of Ridgewood and Dunlawton. The property is already allowed to have a multi-tenant sign, and the PCD was previously already approved to have off-site signage so that you could have panels for different tenants throughout the PCD and various signs. Because there's already 4 or 5 tenants in this tenant space, in order to be able to provide enough space to have 6 tenant panels to be able to advertise all the current tenants that are in the development right now, the amendment is requesting to basically just add 28 square feet to the existing 56 square feet that's already allowed for that monument sign. It will not change the total number of signs allowed on any property throughout the PCD. The sign will still have to meet all the land development code requirements. So the only request is basically to allow that additional 28 square feet on this one monument sign here in this corner, because it's a prominent corner for the entire PCD, and because this property sits pretty far back off the road because of that large FDOT right-of-way. The applicant is asking for that additional square footage, also because a lot of the sign is they're hoping to be able to feature that Catfish Commons kind of themed signage for the overall PCD. So that is the request before you. I'm here to answer any questions. The applicant's also here to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Penny? Stan?
Not here.
Scott?
Will the sign actually be any taller than what the current requirements allow?
No, they're not asking for anything as far as like the height, the design standards. Everything else will meet current code, what current code allows. It's just that additional square footage so that you could fit, so that within that height you could fit another panel.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mark?
No questions.
Tom?
No, those are the questions I had, was about the height. It didn't look like anything else was changing, just the number of panels on there. So, thanks.
Lance?
Is there a design for this district, or is there any certain criteria as far as the signage or anything for this district?
So it's there was an amendment several years ago that removed a lot of the very super specific design requirements with Florida vernacular. It's still within that kind of Florida Mediterranean coastal vernacular within that Port Orange Town Center, but in general it meets the architectural requirements throughout the city. Signs are required to kind of have a consistent look to match the building.
See, I was hoping that with this area and this new building that sign would be a little bit more modern than just a standard 6-panel stand-up sign that you have in front of Lowe's. You know, I thought that this would be maybe something a little bit uppity or a little bit
Bougie.
different with the district, you know what I mean? But yeah, okay, I don't have any issue with it, but
The applicant's here if you'd like to speak to him about the design.
Come on down. You know you wanna.
he doesn't get paid unless he gets to the mic.
That's right.
Came in for a
Yeah.
Hey,
I was gonna say, does he get paid?
yeah, 20 years down the road, we'll talk about that. Brendan Galbraith, Catfish Commons developer, 4190 Halifax. Yeah, so I guess, be honest with you, I'm involved with writing the restated MDA and the original MDA. So, a little bit unwise where, because we got the other tenants could go on the sign approved, but not knowing the sign code like the back of my hand, I just didn't realize that each panel has a sign also, sign square foot requirement. And then if you back in four panels, you run out of square feet at 56, I think, or whatever the numbers are. So just unwise on my part to have it built in on the first round, knowing that we had, Catfish could go on there, or La Cantina can go on there per our current MDA. We just don't have the square footage available. As far as the sign goes, I mean, Don Bell's our, contractor. We submit to them for different renderings, and was the two that came back, with the two options. I'm certainly a little bit above my head of what we're capable of. I don't know all the sign lingo or the types of signs available. We rely on them to produce the renderings and the available signage, I guess. They could always draw to an extreme, but this is what they came back with. We are going to go with the right-hand version with the Catfish kind of on that top left corner with the Catfish Commons. It just felt a little bit more bold and a little bit more distinct to us. But that's the one. We've already put the deposit down, and we didn't realize this until after we put the deposit down. Then they kind of called City Hall and says, by the way, we won't permit that sign. So.
But each tenant gets to have a sign on the building itself too, though, correct?
The 4 tenants on the building will have a sign per code above the space, absolutely.
So there's 4 tenants in the building?
There's four, I guess, there's not 4 tenants, there's 4 bays available.
Okay, so then
We
why
could
do we need
combine.
6 signs?
Because we have the ability to advertise other users within the PCD, within
Oh.
MDA, which is Ant Catfish, which is La Cantina, which is potentially a marina,
Oh,
which is
okay.
approved.
Oh,
So
I see.
that gave us flexibility to kind of highlight some other users, knowing that this is kind of what, kind of the entrance, I guess, to the development, knowing that
Okay.
it's, in our eyes, it's bigger than one
It's a
property.
work in progress.
I wasn't picking up on that. I thought it
Yeah.
was just for the building. Okay.
Yeah, no. This is certainly on the property itself where the new building is, but we can put, in theory, per the MDA, we can put Ant Catfish and La Cantina would be the 2 examples I would use.
I got you.
Because it's all part of the
I
whole.
got you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and we've used this as like an entrance sign to a bigger development versus a single sign for a 6,400 square foot building. So
Gotcha.
that's our
Right.
theory
I
on
got
the
you.
process. So. But yeah, I mean, we're hopeful to get your support. If you've driven by, you see the activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The steelworks, and they should have finished today, but there's a little hiccup on the structural drawings versus what we have on the property. So the engineers dealing with that today. So they were supposed to finish this afternoon, but they didn't. And I see the kind of the decorative foam going on the top of the block wall today. So it's starting to take on a certain feel, and it's going to change pretty quick in the next 3 months, we think.
So I don't know if we're supposed to ask this or not, but is Dunkin' Donuts moving in there?
There's no signed tenants. Certainly, I have a ton of emails and communication from Duncan. No signed tenants at this
All right.
time.
Okay. I
Fair
have
enough.
nothing else.
Anything, Tom?
No, I'm good, thanks, Brendan.
Yep.
Mark?
No, I'm good.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I like the right-hand side sign
Cool.
as well, so.
Yeah.
And that was the most expensive one.
Probably why I was drawn to it.
Just by chance, it was the most expensive.
Brendan's taste.
Yeah.
So
Stan?
You couldn't step it up with the moving catfish that.
No.
No.
Get the windsock going?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
But I will tell you, the building signage, like up on above the spaces, is going to be that backlit, what I call like a halo effect, So then
Oh, nice.
there could be individual letters with a halo effect, so it won't be the channel letters. I guess it'll be letters with the lighting behind, so it'll kind of have a glow behind it. So we feel like that'll be a classy look on the
Yeah,
building.
really.
Nice.
We really are trying to give effort, the flower boxes, plant boxes, and the different finishes that we're putting on it. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
You're definitely in the
Yeah.
focal point
Yeah,
now.
we're way
so,
over
yeah.
budget, so
That's nice.
I have nothing, so
Good. Thank
can
you.
sit back down.
appreciate it.
Any comments from the public? Nothing? Any other questions or discussion for Penny? No? Roll call?
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Scott Stager,
Yes.
Mark Bowling,
Yes.
Maria Mills Bennett,
Yes.
Bobo Family, Lance Green,
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Good deal.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan. These next two, number 5 and 6, we're opening up together, but we will need separate motions and separate votes for them. Number 5, application comprehensive plan amendment, small scale future land use map amendment, case number CPAM-24-0002. And item number 6, application MDA amendment, second amendment to the Altamira Shopping Village Planned Commercial Development PCD and Master Development Agreement MDA, case number PRZA-24-0003. Can I get a motion for each of those?
Make a motion to approve case number CPAM-24-0002.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second
All
for
right,
the next
that
one.
page up, yeah.
Can you do items number 6?
I'll make a motion to approve case number PRZA-24-0003.
Second.
Perfect. And we get 10.
Thank you.
Lucky us.
Yeah. Tim Burbank, Community Development. I get this one since I was the one who did the original MDA and probably should have saw this coming and known not to do the office resident transition on it here, so I get to go ahead and try to resolve this one. So the subject here is basically what we're talking about is really the purple area that's shown on there. That's the amendment area. Currently, the future land use for that is office residential transition. When we adopted the MDA amendment for Altamira, we had that future land use applied to that portion of the property and listed the permitted uses on that as office. There, and along with the single family home that existed there could remain as long as basically it did not get abandoned. Once it got abandoned, it was non-conforming. So fast forward 12 years, the single family home has been abandoned, so it cannot be reused as a single family home. And looking back on it, having an office building at that location does not make sense and most likely would not be able to fit in that location then. So the property owner, who is also the applicant, has purchased the property and they are looking to renovate the existing single family home into their permanent residence then. So in order for that to occur, we have to change the future land use from office residential transition to the rural residential, and then change the MDA amendment to allow single family home as a permitted use, also establish setbacks for that, and then remove the existing commercial uses as permitted then. So we have a future land use amendment to change the 0.7 acres from office residential transition to rural residential, and then an MDA amendment that removes commercial uses as permitted, states that one single family home is allowed on this lot, and then also establishes the setbacks for the structure, and also in the event that a structure has to be rebuilt, what those setbacks would be, along with the accessory structures then. So staff is recommending approval of both the future land use amendment and the amendment to the Altamira Master Development Agreement.
Questions for Tim, Lance?
So I'm confused. I again sat on this panel during the Altamira writing and all of it, and I always thought that this was supposed to be a retention pond.
In front of it, this area right here, that is the retention pond, but that is carved out in the plat as a tract then. So that is not part of Lot 9. The retention pond is a tract that is owned by the owners of the shopping center. So that is not, yes, that is not, yeah, that would be this area right here. East here is the pond. That is not part of this at all. That is still retained by the shopping center.
So how is this in the Altamira's property or within their?
They basically purchased some of that in here. This Lot 9 was the back portion of it, which is not being changed and is covered by conservation future land use, was used for the tree preservation for the overall shopping center. So this property was basically purchased to have tree preservation, and also too, they carved out the pond from the original property then. So what you see outlined here in blue, the 1.7 acres, is identified as Lot 9 on the plat.
But isn't that part of their total count and all their calculations and all their green space requirements from when they built the BJ's and all? I thought all of this property was never to be touched because it was part of this calculation.
It is part of the calculation, but the property did allow for basically the office residential or professional office uses to be there, so you could develop an office on there, as long as you met
I remember
the
it being there, but I didn't think nobody's ever going to do it.
So
you know what I mean, as far as
so
an office,
it is set up for the calculation. So by allowing this amendment to go forward, we're pretty much guaranteeing that you won't go near what basically we intended for that property to have in terms of impervious, because the existing single-family home will be there, will be renovated. We don't have parking lots or more buildings going on there then. So this basically is really restoring it to probably what it should have been, a residential home, and not allowing commercial on this side of Taylor Road.
So, okay, so is there a CO currently on that house, a certificate of occupancy?
The owner will basically, the applicant is going to do renovations on it, so he'll be pulling a building permit through us then.
But currently there is not.
No, because it's been abandoned.
Okay.
We could not find any way, we couldn't find any records of it had continually been used. The last record we have of it being used was 5 years ago.
And how do you access this property?
There is a driveway that is right, kind of right on this side right here.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of goes up through here and then goes to the house then. So it does have access. Actually, the driveway was part of the improvements that was done with Altamira 12 years ago. So access is to the house on there then. And, water, sewers available in the house then. And then, just if this gets approved, he will do the renovations to make it his residence.
Okay, and then what, is it in a flood zone?
The house is not.
Okay, all right, that's all I got.
Such an odd piece of property.
The house is not.
Tom?
Yes, so the overall property right now is zoned as office transition?
The overall the future land use for the property, which we show here.
Right, I'm sorry, yeah,
Is
future
basically,
land
you can
use.
see here, you kind of got this is it right here on this side here. The dark green is conservation.
Right,
The pink is office residential transition. So basically, that's what you've got there. The overlying zoning is PCD because part of the Altamira PCD. When you go to the MDA agreement for that document, it says on lot 9, the permitted uses in the office residential transition area are anything zoned professional office. So medical office, regular office, restaurant, health club, all those could technically be uses that could, someone could bring a site plan in and try to put one of those on this lot as it currently stands today.
and when you're saying that, you're talking about the portion that is in the pink.
Pink area.
In this lot specifically.
Right. We're not touching anything that has to do with the green.
Right, that stays conservation.
Right. And
And
what
we
we're
bu-
going to do is we're going to take out the office residential transition,
Right.
make it the lighter green, which is your low density residential.
Which is what's on Bogsford Road.
Correct. It's consistent
And-
with everything around it.
The green part is actually the B19 canal, isn't it?
No, I mean the canal is down further in this part here.
yeah.
This
Okay.
is more the tree preservation area that is in this chunk of the green here then. But as you can see, by going to the green, then it's more consistent with what's around there then. And to come back to the pond area, Lance, because of when we did the Altamira, everything over there was applied the office residential transition future land use. The area that's outlined in pink right here on the proposed map then, that is the tract that is where the retention pond
Right.
is, which is owned by the Altamira, or the owner of the shopping center then, which is not part of this application at all.
Right, and that area, so it's a retention area now,
Yes.
but it could,
No,
but
it cannot.
but it
it's a-
has
it's a re-
land use
It has
of-
land use, but the MDA says it only can be a retention area.
right.
So you don't have to worry about it being an
So
office.
that's never gonna change, well, it isn't gonna change unless somebody tries to change the MGA.
Right, and you'd have to vote for that.
Right.
And so, I mean, this parcel is always going to be part, well, for now, it's all part of this MDA. It's all part of the Altamira.
Right. I mean, we looked at basically whether you could take it out and just do conventional zoning there. But
Yeah.
the problem with that is that the tree preservation for Altamira is tied to it then.
Exactly.
So that's where we had to go with the MDA amendment.
And Altamira sold this piece of property to this gentleman?
Yes, it's a legal lot of record. When we did the plat, we established it as lot 9 of the plat, and it was a piece of property that could be sold just like one of the out parcels of the shopping center.
Who'd have thought
And I-
that would happen?
Yeah,
Mind blown.
I said the same thing. I wish we had thought about that 12 years ago. We would
Yeah,
have
right.
there, and we wouldn't be here today then. So, but like I said, you look at what could be there and what's proposed to be there, and I think it's basically better fit for the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more consistent with that area than to do a single-family home there. And overall, it'll improve the aesthetics of that then because someone will be taking care of that property
Right.
better than it is right now.
Well, I always remember it being there going, they're never going to build an
They're
office
never-
here,
yeah,
so
'cause
not
such
going
an
to worry
odd
about it. It's
space.
always just going to be green or
Exactly,
whatever.
yeah.
And never thought this would come
Yeah.
before us here, but
And the applicant can speak there, but his intention is just to renovate that existing structure there. So the existing structure will be made there will just be renovated into the residence. So
interesting.
you'll just see an overall better improvement on that side of the road.
Got it. You good, Tom?
Is that a paved road then? I guess that,
The
The
driveway?
driveway?
Yeah,
Yeah, the driveway is concrete driveway that goes
Yeah.
back there then.
yeah, I remember seeing that, that's right.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you a quite weird question. So what are our rules on Airbnbs, rentals? Can we allow any of the, do we allow those in any residential area?
They're allowed in residential areas then. The only
We
thing I
don't
could
really
restrict
have
them
any
if an HOA has specific regulations and they have to comply with the state requirements.
But there's none here, obviously. Okay, all right, gotcha, thanks.
Mark?
My questions were the ingress and egress. I drove by it this morning. It's very narrow.
Yep.
Just make sure that there's going to be enough room for them to get in and out.
Yeah, there's
Be able to
I believe
see.
a 10-foot wide driveway there, and we've,
Yeah.
the applicant's already gone out there and done some maintenance in terms of maintaining the grass around there then, so you can get in and out then. And once it becomes his residence, that will be maintained just like anyone else's yard.
And once we approve this, it basically conforms to what's with the rest of the neighborhood, like the ones along Bogsford
Yeah.
and further east there as well. I think this next track is the church, if I'm mistaken, right?
Over here?
Yeah.
No, the other-
No, the other way.
Over here. It's part of the, that's the stormwater pond for Altamira and the Pink.
To the right.
Next one.
The church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, none. I don't have any other questions.
Scott?
I think it's a much better use of the property than what could happen.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Stan?
So, and I think we already referred to this, but you said it's not in a flood zone area that we aren't gonna have problems with, right?
The house is not, which is the key.
Do we want to hear from the applicant? Is the applicant here?
The applicant is
Yep.
here and
Do you want to hear from the applicant, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Come on up, sir. I'm assuming it's you. You're the only sir in the audience besides him. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Harry Parsons, 890 Taylor Road.
Questions for Harry Parsons? Stan? Scott? No?
How long do you think it'll take to renovate the home?
I currently, right now, since I purchased it, I put a construction policy on it, you know what I mean, insurance-wise, so I have 8.5 months to go.
8.5 months, you build it.
It's not really that bad a shape, I'll say that. I mean, it needs a roof, inside, a little bit of drywall work, but other than that, that's about it.
Nice.
I mean, the tile's nice, I would consider redoing a kitchen, you know, but that's down the road.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the ingress and egress from that busy Taylor Road gives you no issues?
no, sir.
Okay.
Not at all. I mean, the only thing I'll be looking into a little bit more would be some type of fencing up front, because a lot of people like to go there, park on the side of the bridge and go fishing.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I'd be concerned about, because if that's my responsibility for somebody gets hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I'd like to put a few more trees in front of it so you can't even see it.
Tom?
No, I'm good.
So you gonna live there?
Interesting.
That's my intention. It's a beautiful backyard, just
I-
to walk through.
So I'm saying, that's a neat little piece.
It
I
is.
never thought it could ever be sold off, but you,
Yeah, it was, when I seen the for sale sign go up when it was subdivided, I jumped right on it and called a realtor.
Smart.
So,
interesting.
Smart.
Well,
yeah.
all right, well, cool.
So you don't
Thank
mind,
you.
you know, they have a school right down the street there, right?
Sorry?
You have a, they have
School.
a school right down the street, you know, the traffic.
Spruce Creek High School,
that
yes, sir.
generates.
Yeah, yep.
Just don't leave at school times. and you're
Good point.
That's really
You'll
gonna be the issue,
You'll
I
be
think.
fine, especially the first day of school.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, that's all I
Cool.
have.
I have nothing, so thank you very much.
Sure.
Any comments from the public? Susie, nothing?
Jesus wants to go to dinner.
Yes, she's like, I want dinner. Okay, so we need separate vote on this, so can I get a roll call for case number CPAM-24-0002?
Okay. Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Scott Stager,
Yes.
Mark Bowling,
Yes.
Maria Mills Bennett,
Yes.
Bobo Faming, Lance Green,
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Can I get a roll call for case number PRZA-24-0003?
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Scott Stager,
Yes.
Mark Bowling,
Yes.
Maria Mills Bennett,
Yes.
Bobo Faming, Lance Green,
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Commissioner
Thank you.
comments. Do you have
luck.
anything down there,
Thank
Stan?
No. Just wait to hear what's going on with Bristol, but that's a side topic problem.
Probably. Scott?
I'm good. Sorry I missed you guys last week, or last month.
Mark?
Got nothing.
Tom?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Lance?
No, I'm good to go.
Staff comments? Nothing? Not even to Stan's comment? Any public comments? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn?
Robert's not even.
Second?
Meeting adjourned.
Cool.
That was quickie.